It took me 6 years, 6 years with no encouragement, no one sitting here pouring their insights and encouragement into me. I had the Lord. I shouldn't say that. In terms of educators or teachers or people I bought books and courses and stuff from, none of them made themselves available like I try to do for you. And I went through a lot of emotional turmoil, psychological carnage, and it was all self-induced. But at the time, if you were asking me, I would have swore up and down it was that last person I tried to listen to. And that's a bitter pill to swallow when you're brand new, or if you know you're impulsive or lazy. It's easy to say, oh, it's that guy's fault. It's that person's course that messed me up, when it's just you trying to relinquish all responsibility. And in this industry, you have chosen, whether you realize it or not, to take on one of the most challenging things, and it requires the utmost focus and 100% personal responsibility. There's nobody's fault. There's nobody's blame for anything you do with your money but you. I don't put some kind of hypnotism on you and make you buy or sell anything, and no other educator does that either. If they have a ware or a product and you use that as a catalyst to get into a trade and it loses, whose responsibility is that? Yours. Absolutely yours. And it's easy to feel like you're a victim when you're unorganized. And it's convenient for people to reach for that as an excuse. Well, this guy really is not teaching everything. He's holding something back. Or, the free trial worked. It sucked me into it. And then when I tried to use it, paying for it, the black box system failed me. That's somebody that is really not equipped to be a trader. And I'm just going to be blunt and tell you that's exactly what that is. And if you're trying to be a trader, you have to understand in the first few years, it's going to be a lot of uphill, and it's going to be a lot of hit and miss where you think you have it and then you fall back a few steps. And it's easy if you're lazy. It's easy if you're not committed and not passionate about wanting to do this to talk yourself right out of it. That's why a lot of college dropouts drop out. They're either told by friends and family or influenced by someone that they like, and they say, well, I'm going to follow that person's footsteps. And they start their pursuit of the college degree. And in their first year, they're thinking, this is too much. And many times, just the prerequisite, the question of whether or not it's worthwhile for them comes up more frequently because they don't like what they're doing. They're not passionate about it. I didn't want to follow anyone's footsteps when I was coming up. I just wanted to be different. I wanted to trailblaze, and everybody around me did their best to try to discourage me. And that's typically how the enemy works. He'll slip in and enter the mouth of your loved one, your friend, your coworker. And social media has provided a wonderful stage for the enemy because he can slip into DMs, he can slip into a tweet or a response or a reply or a comment section on a YouTube video and steal your joy, steal your pursuit of excellence and your passion. And it's really important when you're navigating these markets that you really do your best to try not to have so much influencers around you. You're met with all kinds of enticements. Quit your job, get rich, drive these cars, go to these fancy places, get finer looking women, get a better man, all those types of things. And I found out early on, they were not my initial motivators, but when I had a taste of money, the very first few times where I had winning trades and I felt like I had it figured out when I didn't. And that's the problem with having the first few years of your trading. You're going to be convinced that you figured it out. Even if you're having short-term, immediate reward by doing something, you may not understand what it is that you did, but you're looking at the fact that you made that money. And because you want to feel good about yourself. And people like myself, where I felt like I had to prove something to the world, because my parents didn't want anything to do with me. My own parents didn't want that. And I was scheduled to be aborted. I wasn't even supposed to be here. But God said otherwise. And because of that, I had a chip on my shoulder. I still do. And the first person that gave me fatherly love and attention was my grandfather. And everything I do in my life, everything I do, I wish many times that I could get his approval. And I can't get it, right? So it constantly is like a fire under me that just keeps on burning. When I started making money, my position about what it is that motivated me, helped me navigate through all these ups and downs, was that, well, wait a minute, if I can make that much money, if I did this many contracts with that type of a move, then I could make $20,000 a month. Well, if I did $20,000 a month, that's like $250,000 a year almost. So that's what I'm gonna try to trade more aggressively. I want to make more money because I like how I feel. And if I could start flashing that, showing it to other people, then I would get that itch scratched. And I did all those types of things. And you know what? It didn't work. It was like a mosquito bite. Yeah, you felt it bite you, and it's pulling the little thing it sticks in you to suck the blood out of you. Then you either smack it or you start scratching it. Well, as soon as you scratch it, that's it. The histamine in your skin is going to go crazy, and it's going to start itching even more. So what I thought was going to satisfy that itch, to make me feel significant, to make me feel like I've arrived or worth being, here. Like I didn't find a purpose in life until I found trading. This was my whole purpose for being here. I'm convinced of it now, more so as a 51-year-old in August. I'm convinced that's why I was here. I was meant to be here. And it's not arrogance, because I was resisting that for a long time. Like, how did all these things happen where my mother just recently had an abortion right before she got pregnant with me? And it was only a threat by my father to take her life, literally. That's the reason why she gave birth to me. So imagine you come into the world and your father's locked up in prison for contract murder, doing 2 consecutive life sentences, plus 20 years, plus pick up more time for trying to escape in the early 80s. He's never getting out. He's going to die in there. And my mother didn't want anything to do with me. So I know what it's like for all of you, okay, that are trying to find your way out here, that you want to feel like you're somebody special, that you really matter, that you have a purpose, and you end up having like these montage moments. That's how it was for me when I was a young man. Like, I would play music, and in my mind, while I was driving, doing my job, I'm like, oh man, I'm listening to this music while I'm driving around. It's going to be like this when I get successful. It's going to be like that when I get successful. When I do this, I'm going to show that person, and you might be laughing at yourself. You're thinking, yeah, I do that shit too. I would never tell it to anybody, but that's what it was for me. And when I taught on baby pips, a lot of the things I taught with my lectures and such, I painted it in a light that it was like an action movie. It was like some kind of Tom Clancy, type thing, sniper, and it picked up. It got an audience, and then that audience learned, and they learned how to trade, and other people would ask them, how'd you learn? I learned from this guy on baby pips, and more people grew, and it just kept growing. And I don't know where you are in your walk. I don't know where you are in your learning. I don't know where you are in the world. I don't know your state of mind, but I've always had this deep-rooted desire to be, number one, identified, recognized. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, wait a minute, you just opened this up by saying you don't want to be a celebrity. Yeah, I don't want to be a celebrity. I don't like just a little bit of notoriety I've received. Like it's extremely intrusive. And so many people are clamoring to get your attention and wanting to do things with you. And I don't feel like my life is mine anymore. As a new trader, when you first come into this, everything is told to you by books and educators that it's random. Everything in these markets are random, and you can't time the market, and you have to react to price. And that's absolute bullshit. That's bullshit. You cannot listen to that drivel, okay, and adhere to that logic and become a independent thinking, consistently profitable trader. I'm convinced of it, because I did my utmost best to try to do that. And everybody else that does the same bullshit, that's why the 90% losing statistic exists. But what you don't realize is, folks, listen, and I've said this many times in other resources, whether it be on YouTube or in other Twitter spaces, but yes, I absolutely believe that the statistics with trading, that 90% blow out really early and they never become profitable. 90%. But what you fail to realize is there's another party on the other side of their trades. It's a net sum zero game. For every winner, there's a buyer. So the paradigm shift that I had was, okay, when I first started, I was absolutely residing in that 90% losing crowd. I was there, and I was buying books thinking that shit was going to help me. It was going to change my direction. It was going to create me and put a path in front of me that was going to be the right one. Now, what I failed to understand is if I'm buying that same book, and it's been out there for sale for years before I even started, why is it that everybody else hasn't figured out what I was going to do, which is follow the rules? And when I stopped buying books, that's when I started learning. When I stopped system hopping and changing my hand of who wants to teach me now, who wants to be the mentor of Michael. When that stopped, and I put my ass in front of the charts and said, okay, I don't know anything. I'm nobody, and I'm at the first step. I'm at zero. What do I want to do? Where is my focus at? Where do I right now, looking at these markets and the opportunities that they present, where do I want to go in this? What can I do with the job that I have? I had a job that I was working. I had to be out in Owens Mills real early in the morning, and the whole workday was really about 12 and a half, 13 hours. So I couldn't be in front of the charts to trade live, because I would be all over Baltimore City and Baltimore County filling up vending machines, fixing coffee machines. And even on the way home, I would probably have to be stopping and fixing a machine that someone would call and say, hey, something didn't work. And my boss at the time, Glenn, would say, this is I need you to do this. And that's it. And so I can't go home and do what I want to do when I'm off. I'm stopping and doing a service call. So I had to come up with a way of determining what the hell it is I'm going to do, which was very difficult for me, because I felt like if I could sit in front of the charts and look at 1 hour charts real time, I would be able to do very, very well. But I couldn't have real time charts while I was driving around in a step van. So the next best thing for me was to get some kind of quote device. So that way I had to come up with a way of determining where I want to be a buyer, because I wasn't a short seller in the beginning. I didn't understand short selling. I was afraid of it. And it didn't make any sense. How can you sell something you don't own and make money, right? It's like, what the hell's that? So I wanted to be a buyer only. So my motto was buy model only. And what was the driving force behind the decisions that made me a buyer? I was looking at a 9 and 18 exponential moving average on a daily chart. I wanted to see the 9-day being above the EMA. I'm sorry, the 9 EMA above the 18-day EMA. But it can't Can't just cross it. I can't do that. I have to wait for it to cross. Then it has to spend at least 3 days above the 18-day. So that in my mind, momentum is absolutely going long. Now, I did not get the best entries. I didn't catch the lows. I was afraid of trying to do that because Larry Williams said, don't go in trying to catch falling daggers. So he was my mentor. So I said, fuck that. I ain't going in and doing that. I'm going to wait for it to be moving and I'll get in sync with it then. How did I do that? What was my entry mechanism? In the evening time, when I finally found my way home, did my exercising, and then ate, and then showered, I would spend all night long, sometimes going to work, doing that same schedule, with less than 3 hours sleep sometimes. Oh, come on, I'm telling you, you think I'm an insomniac now. I don't require a lot of sleep. I don't know why people think they got to be sleeping their whole fucking life away, but 8 hours sleep to me, you're wasting it. You're wasting it. You would probably do so much better if you get to a point where you can not have to have a job. Do small sessions in sleep. Like I do 2 4-hour sessions. They're broken up. And then I catnap in between when I can. I get so much shit done. That's why some of you like, do you ever sleep? Yeah, I sleep. I schedule sleep. But I don't have the same cares of the world like you do. Like you worry about losing your job. You worry about making sure your kids have your college funds. You worry about how you're going to put food on your table because your job may not require you anymore and make you redundant. So I don't have those fears. And when you don't have those fears, you're energized because that shit's like a vampire. It sucks the life out of you. And it's difficult. It's so hard in the beginning doing this because you have all those real world cares of the world. They're real. You're not exaggerating it. Believe me, I experienced all that stuff. But for me, the desire to get the fuck out of that shit was more than any of the fear. I had to do this because I couldn't exist living a mundane existence. I can't do that. I'm not wired for that. So I had to go in and look at 1 hour charts in the evening on end of day data. That means this is when it wasn't even real time. I was downloading my data using Metastock. That was the platform I used for my charting. Metastock was a charting package, kind of like TradeStation or Supercharts. Supercharts isn't a thing anymore, I don't think, and TradeStation's still around. They've evolved into a broker, but Metastock that was my joint. That was my weapon. And I thought I had everything figured out with that shit. And in the beginning, I had every indicator you could put on a chart, and you couldn't see my candles. Well, I didn't have candlesticks in the beginning. It was open, high, low, and close. But you couldn't even see price. I didn't give a shit because the indicators, I thought that they were the trick. That was the thing. Don't look at price. That's the distraction, right? When in fact, it's the indicator that's the distraction. Okay, and that's why I thumb my nose at that shit, because I fell victim to all that stuff. And yes, there is absolutely a way to use indicators and use my content and make money. Absolutely, you can. But the problem is you end up falling into this trap. And yes, I'm getting to the point about what I was looking for on the hourly chart. Settle the hell down. But you get caught up in this rat race of finding out what indicators you want to have, what their settings are supposed to be, and which ones are better at doing what. So there's all kinds of books written about, and if you buy 12 different books about indicators, rarely will they agree on the settings. Rarely will they agree on how to use them and when they apply them. But they have an ability to go back in time and find the cherry-picked examples of where the shit worked perfectly. But then when you go out there and you try to do it, you're wrecked. I went through that shit for years, convincing myself every single time that I failed at doing it. It was just, okay, it's the right indicator, but this guy doesn't have the right settings. I'm going to buy another book or another course, another DVD, okay, that talks about it, and they will give me the part that this guy left out. And it never worked like that. It never fucking worked. So I was like, there's so many holes in this industry, so many opportunities for people that would know how to do something. Why don't they come out here and simply just produce something that works? Like, it removes all the bullshit, cuts right down to the bone and says, okay, no fluff, no indicator. This is what price is going to do. And I don't give a shit if you believe it or not, because this is how it's going to be. And I said, I can't find it. I'm looking around. I can't find anybody able to do that. So I'm going to be that. That was my passion. I'm going to fill all the potholes in this industry where the shit doesn't work. I'm going to fill that in. I'm going to give you something that works. Not just it works okay, it is absolutely precise. Down to when you can expect it to form. What days, what months, what markets, what direction, what time. All that shit was my passion. But it started with a very simple little bullish divergence when the market was oversold on a 60-minute chart. What market was that? The bond market. The bond market. I segued from currency futures into bonds, like my second year. And I was like, oh, I like bonds. They trend real easy. Like they're nice. Like when they start moving, they just tend to move for a good period of time. And I wanted to be part of a momentum. And currency trends, they were great, but the problem was their gaps were scary. Like I wasn't able to hold anything overnight because I was not aware of how Globex traded. I wasn't aware of, overseas, how that time difference, what markets are behaving like at that time. I was brand new to all that stuff. So I was afraid to touch that. So if I did any kind of trading in not index, but currency futures, I would do it as a day trade only. And I would get out many times way before the market would close because I was afraid. I was stone cold afraid of doing it wrong, because if you were in a market and if you look at a currency futures contract back in the 90s, sometimes it would gap a lot. And if you were holding on to something, you could wake up and be completely decimated. So that scared me. So I said, well, I'm going to be focusing and specializing in bonds. So I want to look at that market. So my model really began on the back of 30-year Treasury bond. And I would use a 60-minute chart. Now, mind you, remember the daily settings would be this. The 50-day moving average, which is a simple moving average, it needs to be sloping up, okay? That's all it needs to be. The 9 exponential moving average needs to be above the 18-day exponential moving average, but it has to be there at least 3 days above it. It can't just cross it. We're not treating it like a moving average crossover or a golden cross. We're not treating anything like that. It's really moved. And then what I did was I was looking for 60-minute or 1 hour oversold conditions that presented a bullish divergence, a typical, standard bullish divergence where the chart would create a lower low in price, but the stochastic I was using, which was a 14 smooth by 3-3, that was my settings. And if it created a bullish divergence, I would be looking for the opening price at open, which is the reason why I had the quote track. I'm watching that. And I get the opening price, and I would wait for it to trade just a little bit below the opening price. And if it did that, I would buy 5 ticks above the opening price, thinking I'm buying strength. Where did I get that from? I got it from Larry Williams. He buys strength. He was buying on stops. And that was my model. I didn't understand buying limits because I didn't know where I could place my limit order, because I was afraid if I put a limit order in and it filled me and it went further down, I didn't know how to place a stop loss yet. I was all brand new to this, right? So when I caught a runner, man, it was great. It was amazing. But when I put the order in, the stop loss, because you got to put in a order canceled order. Okay, so it's parent contingent, meaning you call your broker. This is how we did it back then. You call your broker and you say, okay, I want to buy Christmas bonds, which is December contract of 30-year Treasury bond, and at this price. Where's your stop? You want to use it though? Do you want to use a stop? Yes. You tell them how many ticks away it was, okay? And I would use a 10-tick stop. So it's about $300 some per contract. And in the beginning, there was just one contract I was trading. So I would have no target. I would just wait. I wanted to see how price behaved. Sometimes it would fill me and then stop me out. And that would wreck my whole fucking day. I would be half-ass filling the machines because I was mad. I'm mad. So I'm just like you, okay? I'm just like you when your shit doesn't go right. You want to blow up. you want to show the world that you're pissed off. You don't want them to ask you what you did wrong, but you want them to understand you're pissed off. I'm having a bad fucking day. Don't talk to me. So I would be driving around all through Baltimore City and Baltimore County, filling up vending machines, pissed off that I couldn't see what it did. And then I would go home that evening, go through the process of doing my normal thing, work out, get all the stress out of me, take a shower. I've already ate. Now I'm looking at the charts and I could see these things start happening. Like, if I would have saw that on the chart, I could see how I wouldn't have bought there yet. I would have done this, I would have done that. And that sounds like, oh, it's hindsight 2020, but you know how I trade now. I can tell you honestly, if I would have done something, I've done it this year. I did it last year too, telling you, if I would have been trading, I would have got stopped out there if I would have done that trade. It's not a lot, but in the beginning, it was a lot. I did it wrong a lot with no encouragement, like I'm giving it to you. So it's normal for you to feel like you're spinning your wheels in the beginning. It's going to be like that with whatever you do in trading, because you're competing with yourself. You have an expectation of yourself, whether you want to admit it or not. You want to see yourself somewhere in the future, whatever that timeline is. You're presenting this as a goal for yourself, and you're manifesting that as your destination. When that destination is going to evolve so many fucking times over the next several years, what you think you're going to be satisfied with is going to change a lot, especially when you start finding consistency and profitability. That shit's going out the window. Forget about it. Like you're going to completely change how you think about yourself, how you're going to live, what you're going to do with money, how you're going to spend it. Like, it's all going to change. If you don't know what it's like to make 6 figures, you don't know what that feels like. You don't know what it feels like to make 7 figures. You don't have that. You don't know what that feels like. But you also don't know what it feels like to lose 7 figures. For some of you, that's the end of the fucking world. That's it. I'm never touching this market again. I'm never going to do it again. But that's a lesson that you're going to have to go through. You're going to have to go through the ups and downs of what you think you understand and what you really learn from going through it. That was the ICT model. That's what I was doing. And I would trade the stock market the same way I was doing the bonds. If I was bullish, I would allow for, the opening price, get that opening price. I'm already bullish, so I want to see it try to trade down below the opening price. So even if it's, going down a little bit, I don't care. 5 ticks above that opening price, I'm buying strength. And then if it was good, it would just run off. And if it was bad, it would stop me out, and I'd be like anybody else, losing their friggin' mind about it, blaming myself and blaming everything else. I should have did this, I should have did that, and I hurt myself by doing all those things. This is the reason why I teach all of you, when you're journaling, or if you're talking on social media about what you do and what you've done, you don't want to be negative, because you're reinforcing this whole idea about trying to be perfect. And perfect doesn't exist. I mean, it exists in Christ, but you're not going to be here. And you can't do that in trading. You're going to lose. Okay? But you're going to get wrapped up in all this indicator pursuit and waste so much time. So much time doing that. When I first teach students, under my wing, the first thing you're doing is take everything off your charts. Take everything off your charts. Completely naked, open, high, low, close, or candlestick. That's it.